beautiful day to you as I bring to you another educative edition of FMBN Podcast, brought to you by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria here on 7FM TV. The purpose of FMBN Podcast is to keep you informed with all the workings, products and services that Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria offers. And let me also tell you, because of this, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and click on the notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified each time we post something here on FMBN Podcast here on 7FM TV. Still me, your host, Patience Okai. So let's quickly go on a short break. We'll be right back.
Get trained as a mortgage expert, smart property development industry player. Get that full option capacity training center for your individual or organizational needs. At the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria FMBN Training Center, courses are both technical and managerial in mortgage operations, finance, human resources, and ICT, all facilitated by both internal and external mortgage and property industry experts.
We borrow the money from the bank. Every month we're servicing it.
All FMBN courses are approved by the Center for Management Development. Meanwhile, the FMBN Training Center offers 8 training facilities for rentals, 3 seminar rooms of 30 sitting capacities, 2 seminar rooms of 10 and 12 sitting capacities, 2 conference halls of 108 and 78 sitting capacities, an ICT lab of 38 seats, and a 24/7 power supply. Visit the FMBN Center at number J4 Aliakilu Road, Kaduna. Email training.school@fmbn.gov.ng or call 0901 280 3484.
Welcome back to FMBN Podcast, proudly brought to you by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria here on 7FM TV. And trust me, all your comments and questions are well received. And you know what? A lot of people ask this particular question: can right of occupancy be used to access National Housing Fund construction loan? Of course, it's high time we give you the answer. Listen to this.
Yes. Right of occupancy can be used as a title document on the condition that the owner will submit the evidence of processing the certificate of occupancy and the undertaking that the certificate of occupancy will be deposited in the bank when it is obtained.
Okay, you are watching FMBN Podcast, brought to you by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria here on 7FM TV. Just before we continue, let's go on a commercial break, and when we come back, exclusive interviews. Cross your fingers.
What is the name of my grandson?
Suleiman.
That's a good name. May the Almighty preserve him.
Amen.
Now that your family is growing, this is the time for you to start thinking of a house of your own.
Abba, the thought of this has always been on my mind. To build a house now, you need a lot of money, and that is what is holding me back.
Sonny, what you need is a mortgage. NHF mortgage loan. With NHF mortgage loan, you own a house upfront and pay gradually over a long period of time.
Abba, I will go to the FMBN office right away.
Come join us at FMBN and let's shelter Nigeria together.
Welcome back. You are watching FMBN Podcast, brought to you by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria here on 7FM TV. So the exclusive interview with 7FM TV correspondent Austin Sinam with the group head special product Mr. Lawa Kofa Saudi. Listen to this.
The purpose of rent-to-own, because I believe, let me even ask you, why rent-to-own? Because it was NHF that was in existence.
Yes, well,
before the thought of the rent-to-own.
Well,
so what is the purpose? Why?
Well, I think I have in our earlier discussion, I think I have highlighted the purpose. The purpose is that one, it eliminates a third party. It eliminates the primary mortgage banks in application, because we discovered that it is taking time for the primary mortgage banks to process NHF applications because of one reason or the other on their part. Secondly, the purpose is that we have funded estate all over the nation, and people are desirous of taking over those houses, but because in some states they don't even have primary mortgage banks, and those that, unless a primary mortgage bank is registered as national, it cannot go outside its own domain to create mortgages. For instance, if a primary mortgage bank is registered to do business in Abuja or Lagos or Kano or Kaduna, they cannot go outside those states to do business unless they are registered as national. And most of those primary mortgage banks that are registered as national, they don't have the capacity to have branches all over the nation. So we discovered that we have houses that are ready for people to move in, but the channel through which they can acquire those houses are not available in some places. So that's why we say, okay, since these are funded estates, let us use the rent-on so that we will ease the access to those houses to Nigerians. So that's how we came up with the rent-on, because we have branches in all the states of the Federation. So, and then thirdly, you know, it enables us to clean up our books, because if you have funded estates and the estates are built, the houses are on ground, but because of the bureaucratic channel through which people must follow to apply for NHF loan, the houses are there, and the loan that was booked to build those houses will continue to accrue interest, and then the developer will not be able to sell those houses because of things that are outside his powers. So that's why we came up with this rent-on, so that as estates are built, we use the rent-on and we clean our books.
So the house doesn't need to stay for too long.
For too long, exactly. Exactly. In fact, what is done now is that any funded estate that we are funding, we ask the developers to begin process of selling those houses to either people that wants to do rent-on or NHF once they have reached 80% of construction, so that before they finish the 20%, applications must have come to the Federal Mortgage Bank, so that we can approve those loans and the developer can exit from the transaction.
Okay, what really inspired the rent-on?
The rent-on. What inspired the rent-on is that one, we want to eliminate people having to pay equity contribution for houses that are above 5 million naira. Secondly, we want to, as quickly as possible, ensure that houses we funded, off-takers have taken over those houses, so that an end-to-end, back-to-back loan approval is done for them, and then they take off those houses. Thirdly, it also enables us to, because these are funded estates, so once the houses are there, we don't need the services of a third party for us to give those houses to people that are interested in those houses. So these are what inform the development of the rent-on.
Okay.
Okay, so speaking further on rent-to-own loan, is the unit head rent-to-own loan Mr. Ogo Foster with 7FM TV correspondent Austin Sinam. Let's join the conversation.
The rent-to-own is under the SPG, Special Product Group.
Yes, of course.
Okay, aside from rent-to-own, what other products are in this group?
The other products have not been fully developed. So, because we have two units, we have rent-to-own and home renovation. So there's a different unit here for home renovation. Any new one, we come out with it. Currently, we are tinkering with the idea of diaspora. Not yet fully operational.
Okay. The rent-to-own is one of the products of the FMBN, being enjoyed by contributors to the National Housing Fund. Please tell us about the rent-to-own product.
The rent-to-own product is a product the bank brought out to remove some of the lapses that we found out in one of our products, or two, the NHF product and the estate development loan product. There were some observed lapses. So the rent to own is to cushion some of the effects observed in those ones. For example, we have so many estates that we funded, and getting people to offtake them through the NHF is becoming problematic. So the rent to own is meant to bring people in, stay as a tenant, and pay gradually. With that, those houses will now be habitable and everybody will smile.
What are some of the lapses that the rent to own came to solve, or probably the problem that it came to solve?
I've just spoken about one. The individuals were finding it difficult to use the National Housing Fund as a product in assessing the mortgage loan from us. So the rent to own is a window for them. Okay, if you know you will not be able to pay the bulk money, or you know you will not qualify if the PMB profile you, okay, come to us. Let's use the rent to own window so that you pay monthly rent, and at the end of the day you will be the landlord. So you are a tenant from the word go, and it's the same amount of money like the NHF.
That seems to sound like the purpose of it, the purpose of the group.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to what. So what? Let me ask you this again, because people who are listening, who probably might want to catch up with quick interest to dive into this, might want to have a clear thing. So tell us, what basically, in Clayton, what inspired the rent to own?
We wanted our funded estates to be occupied by human beings as fast as possible.
That's what you wanted your funded estates. So already there are
estates already. Yes.
And it was taking time for people to assess them.
Yes.
So the rent to own came to bridge that gap.
That's the primary reasons. It may be expanded later on, but that's the primary reason.
Wow. Now, qualification comes into play, because when people hear this, the next thing that comes to mind is, am I eligible? Am I qualified? So tell us, who qualifies for the loan?
There are some of these estates that people are already staying in them. So a little push from us will make them to be the landlords or landladies, so long as they can pay. A little push from us will make them to be the owners. There are some of these houses developed, and the developers and even our branches are finding it difficult to market using the National Housing Fund. So because of the turnaround time, because the rent to own, you go to our office, you get everything processed and they sent to us. The NHF, you have to go through another institution, a primary mortgage bank. So to cut some of this turnaround time, and most of these houses, we have already spent a lot of money in putting them on ground. So the rent to own is a quick win situation to solve the housing problem for Nigerians who know that they can pay rentals either a monthly or a yearly basis. In paying that, then they can use the rent to own window.
Okay, glad to know you are still with us and you are watching FMBN podcast, brought to you by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria here on 7FM TV. So let's quickly give you our headline news track on FMBN this week. So don't go nowhere. Okay, it's sad to say we have come to the end of this week's edition on FMBN Podcast, brought to you by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Do well to join us next week for another educative edition of the show FMBN Podcast. Okay, I just want to let you know, don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles displayed on your screen at Instagram 7TV_NIG, Twitter 7TV_NIG, Facebook 7TV Nigeria, and as well as YouTube 7FM-TV. You can also visit our website at www.7media.ng and do well to visit www.fmbn.gov.ng for more information. Till I come your way next week, stay blessed. Bye.